Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to House of Herby, your safe space for self-discovery and bad bitchery. I am your host, Queen Herby, and joining me today, my co-host, Jedi Nick. We are on a mission to talk about something really close to our hearts today. I'm really excited about this. Some folks would call it pure hippie bull. But we would call it find your woo. We love spirituality. I know that word has gotten a little tainted over time. It's
call it
loaded.
Consciousness. It's a little less woo-woo maybe.
I think it'd be more helpful if we would just try to define this. How do we define this? How do you define like woo-woo, spiritual?
Finding meaning. Finding meaning.
Yeah. Okay, so getting into a flow of meaning in your life. So what are the usual skeptics going to say about spirituality? I feel like the only hindrance, the only barrier to having a spiritual or life with meaning is that you're like stuck in like, I need proof. I need to see it. I need to believe it.
Yeah, we're going to go right in. Your tip, we're going straight in there, huh?
I got
notes. I'm not even warmed
I
up
took
yet.
notes on my iPad. Okay.
I mean, did you have any specific way you wanted to dive into this? Because let's just talk about this.
I was going to say
our own maybe unique.
Our brief
experiences.
Journey, yes.
Exactly. Whatever you want to call it.
Because I have a saucy background. Okay, Luna's trying to come up. I have a saucy Christian upbringing.
Okay, what kind of sauce are we talking about here?
The most basic tomato sauce. Yeah.
So a really good sauce.
No, it is something that I've healed from, right? So at this point in my life, I'm in my mid-30s. I'm like, okay, cool. I've been independent. I've been free long enough to have gone through my period of rebellion, right? So after I left my Christian upbringing, I was like, rebellious phase where I'm going to just do all these things that, the church would think is horrible. And then I'm going to eventually calm down and start replacing that spiritual hole with something that I've chosen, which for me was my journey to I went as far as witchcraft. I was like, let me explore all the shit and find the best fit for me. And then you go through that and it becomes fascinating. And then you find meaning again in a way that you feel safe with, in a way that you trust. And then, only then can you emerge and say, I forgive myself for the past. Anybody that hurt me, or if Christianity wasn't working out for me, I still love that. I would still call myself a Christian, but I would also call myself a Buddhist. I would also call myself a Taoist. I would also call myself,
a universist.
A witch. Yes.
A witch.
It's like christianwitches.com.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm sure that's a website already.
T-shirt.
Oh God, no, let's not promote. We don't know. We haven't looked at it. Because that's
christianwitches.com.
That's the danger. I think for me and my Christian upbringing was there was always this feeling like it was a system of control.
So I did not grow up in the church. We talked about this a lot.
Your parents sent you to peace camps.
They did. They literally sent me to a peace camp when I was 11 years old.
What do you do at
CISV?
What kind of activities did you do? Because at Bible camp, it was bonfires, mostly, tie-dye t-shirts.
Yeah, group sex,
bad cafeteria.
Golf.
Oh,
yeah, pretty normal, pretty normal activities.
Lucky.
You had different destinations every year.
Totally.
Okay, so there were two options my year. It was Japan or Tennessee.
Okay. Which one did you get?
Tennessee.
Oh.
Because my parents are like, dude, you are the worst eater. I was the pickiest eater of all time. I used to peel the skin off of hot dogs.
Damn. So getting back to the, this is all just a metaphor for what we're going to say, right? Why do all that work when you realize that your Christian upbringing, whatever background you come from, when you realize that the intention was just to give people meaning, that was the whole point. It wasn't to hurt anybody. Of course, when humans do anything, it's going to get fucked up.
It's going to get weird every time.
I don't care who you are. I've met some of the most amazing people and some of the most horrible people, all within the same organizations, in religions. It's a scary place, but guess what? It just happens to be a bad time. I mean, our church, so instead of peace camp, we got sent to Native American reservations.
Oh, wow.
And it was we're going to save people. It's just this weird, no, y'all, we colonized this. This is a problem. We stole their land. And now that we're going over there to be we'll help you build houses and teach your children about Jesus.
Our God is the best God.
Oh, it's exhausting. But
it is exhausting.
But I had an amazing experience meeting people not like me. I got to sing in the praise band. So a big musical root for me was like singing in the church.
Sure.
So that is super important. I would not be the same person.
I know a lot of incredible musicians that started in the church.
Exactly.
Probably some of the best, actually.
So we just want to help you see, like, no matter what the controversial opinions are about this, everything has a good and a bad thing.
Everybody's entitled to their own wrong opinion. It's fine.
You're right.
No, it's obviously a very not touchy subject at all. I think,
But really, to me, what this is honesty, it's vulnerability, and it's awakening. I think everyone deserves the chance to make up their own mind. So if anybody ever tells you not to ask questions, you run the other direction and ask all the questions. That's all I can say.
So you grew up in the church. Were there times where you felt like you knew that it was... you could sense the dogma in it, or it felt like it had kind of lost its point a little bit? It was more...
Yes. There was a time when my grandfather was sick or something, and we had to get in the car and drive across to another state, like in the van. And I remember in church, the one thing that they always said was like, if you give yourself to Jesus, everything will be okay. And I just remember all I wanted was my grandfather to get better, but I couldn't figure out how to give my life to Jesus to get that accomplished. Like, it was just so, to me, like now looking back at it and looking at little Amy, and she was just like really trying.
She was doing her best.
She was really trying, and it was like these dots were not connecting. Now I can look back and be like, oh, they mean like if you can surrender and allow God to work through you and oh, like, but I had to go through all these other religions and other theories and other practices to get there.
And a lot, I think, of something we talk about a lot. We're going all the way in, kids.
Let's get it.
It may have been your soul's journey this time.
1,000,000%.
To have this experience and still end up where you're at now, being the heathen female healer, rapper, witch that you are, and start from there, a very conservative upbringing to come and to experience that whole transition.
Spirituality has become my art.
Yeah. Wow. T-shirt number 2.
Wait, are we
of today?
Okay.
We had one earlier.
You missed it.
You missed it.
Sorry. No, it is art. I think if you can look at your spirituality and finding meaning and purpose and all these things and starting your company and building this thing, like all of this is your very existence is art. And so I don't want you to be afraid of we should be able to talk about these things.
We should.
And as long as you're not just like stuck in anger about like, oh, the Christian name. It's like, no, there was amazing shit going on, but it was also like a struggle for me to get the whole picture, which eventually is what became Queen Herby and who I am now. And I'm so happy.
So, and we've had mystics or great teachers or whatever you want to call them, Jesus.
Okay, let's talk about history. This is important.
Yeah.
Is that what you're getting to?
Kind of. Well, hold on. So I think they're it's all the same teachings. It's all the same shit. And it's all like at the end of everything, after you remove yourself from all of the horse shit, there's love. That's it. That's the lowest common denominator of everything that good you're supposed to feel. And they all, I think that's the point of all of them. And if you don't feel that, then find something that makes you feel that.
Touche.
Right? I mean, because that's the point of it. That's how it's supposed to be.
It is.
That's
our true nature. Once you remove all the programs and the traumas and all the things, you are a loving ball of light.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah.
You got a hut.
But let's talk about this, because this is what's really fascinating. So let's go through our journey so that maybe people can relate. Let us know in the comments, like, what was your journey? Are you even starting? Are you judging us? Like,
I remember when I had my first sip of
stop,
lager.
No.
That's when my journey...
Still not sponsored.
That's when my journey really began.
My journey began. Okay. The first step for me was removing the fear, because the first thing they tell you, I don't know if this is every religion, but for Christianity, they tell you not to question, only have faith. So you have this crushing fear of like looking at anything outside of it. or asking any questions that may naturally be coming up for you. You push those down. So I had to do a lot of exercises to remove the fear, because some people never ask questions. Like they go to their grave with this, like, you know, and that's okay too. Look, totally cool. I'm a crazy bitch. I had to go out and jump into it. So my first safety net for me, this is where I discovered one of my greatest talents, was learning. I was like, I love to look shit up and read them and get excited. Like for me, after I removed the fear, I jumped right into learning about all the other approaches to spirituality and all the other modalities of healing, and I became obsessed with it. So I started learning, and the things I learned right away that saved me and re-inspired me to have a meaning and a purpose in my life was astrology, numerology, tarot cards, the aura, chakra systems, breathing exercises, meditation, yoga. Yoga's cool. I haven't kept up with it, but it was pretty great. Like learning that just stretching was like releasing stuff in my body. Journaling, Reiki, which I've recently got into, psychic talents, right? So finding people that have this gift, and like it's magical to experience. And then third eye. I was like, how do I open my third eye? Surrounding yourself with the color purple is a really good
So
thing
what
for that.
about these things brings you comfort or joy?
I feel connected directly with God.
Okay. How?
It's a knowing.
So it's within yourself though, that you're doing all of these things by yourself.
Going inward.
Okay.
And communicating with the divine that way. And as a songwriter or as an artist, I hope some of you can relate to this. Like sometimes
what do you need?
Oh, I need your art. Once you can open up that channel, you're naturally good at it. It's just what we call programs and trauma and stuff is stored. And that's why I do these aura cleanses, because it is sort of reconnecting you with your own magical power. People are like, how do these aura cleanses work?
Right.
Do you know?
Do I know
How they work?
Kind of. So we started changing our habit. You made us do this a few years ago. I think it was probably like 3 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, we've been killing it.
And we stuck to it. So every morning when we wake up, it's supposed to be 20 minutes of like
journaling
or
sweating.
movement. Yeah, sweating or something, which we just do breathing instead. And then it's 20 minutes of journaling
and 20 minutes
of learning. So as a result of the learning,
The 20s.
The 20s. Dude, it's the 20s.
320s.
It's the 20s again. I listen to books on Audible while I cook breakfast. So one of the books I read recently was called The Field. What's the actual title of it?
The Field is, we took
it's
some
crazy.
notes.
The Field, the quest for the secret force of the universe.
This is when everybody tunes out. It sounds
Field.
like you're reading Star Wars.
Entering the fifth dimension of George Lucas's third nut. Of the,
it's like
totally
energy based.
It's a study. The first half of the book is like a collection of scientific studies. It's really difficult to even read or listen to because it's hard to follow.
Yes.
I ain't too fucking smart.
Oh, you
okay?
are though.
Oh well, I
You
appreciate
are wicked
you.
smart.
My aura is rising.
Okay.
And but this is the
moving
fucking
on.
thing. The first half of the book is just a collection of scientific
Data.
studies.
So, and that's
Data.
the skeptics.
It's
So
proving.
this is called The Field.
This is called The Field.
This is a very reason-based approach. So if you're coming out of like a religion or something and you're trying to find your own meaning, this is for the folks that want proof.
And the second half of the book is talking about actual case studies.
Yes.
About how actually like prayer, proving things like that does reach some vibrational 0 point energy. They even use that word, which is hilarious because that's what they say on The Incredibles. But
That's
apparently,
what runs the lightsabers. I know. Look, I'm as skeptical as y'all.
It's wild.
I am so skeptical. That's why I feel like this is such an exciting
it's all
topic.
the same thing. It's all the same shit. They said Jesus could heal people, right?
Yes.
All of these mystics in India could heal people. All of these, because
There's actually been several beings. Not all of them become super famous, but beings that incarnate
do not
at
want
the
to.
level of that, right?
Yes.
So we can jump into David Hawkins because we're at the reason-based
Woo, let's get weird. So this was my kind of
fave.
Yeah, but
It was actually your dad
really.
that gave us these books.
It was.
Okay, so
Dr.
David Hawkins.
Michael Noonan.
David Hawkins is a wonderul author. He's now passed on.
He's passed on. He was an MD for most of his life.
Yep.
And
Also
then,
skeptical AF.
super. And then became
Started studying consciousness.
Started studying consciousness.
He made a scale, y'all.
Through
He
a
measured.
result. Yes, he did. Sorry for interrupting you. He studied consciousness through a result of his own suffering.
T.
If he had not suffered, he would not have indulged as far as he did on learning about, and he reached peace, which technically by his
measurements
is enlightenment. So if we can put up, can we bring that up? Let me bring that up and read to you.
Oh, the scale. We can put a picture
David
of the
Hawkins,
scale.
But for the people listening, I can read it off and tell them what it is. Okay.
Yep.
This is something that I reference all the time because it makes the most sense to me.
Pull it up really quick, and I'm going to tell them my favorite books. Go. So the first so this dude like really changed our perspective, and he's gaining more popularity as time is passing, which is really cool to see. But it was Power versus Force. That was the first one I read on the tour bus when we were on tour with Carmen for 5 years straight. And we were in our bunks like this at night, going down bombing down the highway. Sorry, Luna. My dog is sleeping on my lap right now. And she's like, why? Can you just be a normal podcaster? But Power versus Force was so difficult for me to read. I had to take it one sentence at a time. And then the next year I picked up the next book, which was Letting Go, which is by far my favorite. There's a bunch of beautiful, this is a whole collection of books, and they all have the same little cover with the diagonal sling. Letting go changed the game for me, y'all. Letting go, like the power of surrender. It's so simple. And it makes everything so easy. It's beautiful.
It's the easiest thing you'll ever do. At the same time, it's fucking impossible.
Yo, it's so cool.
Sometimes it feels fucking impossible.
And now I'm on this third book, which is
Eye of the Eye.
Okay.
That's maybe my favorite.
Eye of the Eye, y'all. It's really the description of enlightenment. And when you're like us and you're sort of seeking these informations and getting interested, it's like, oh, do I want to become enlightened? It's cool.
But even if you don't, to me, what's interesting about it to me is like, why are we obsessed
There's
with...
no rush.
There is no... That's the point.
You don't need to... If you're not interested in enlightenment, you don't need to do it.
You can't become enlightened chasing enlightenment.
Nah.
You can't do it. You have to allow it.
Yeah.
It's nothing that's what's so beautiful about all of this shit.
Rock out with your cock out until you're ready. Like, just don't... Come on.
I've been doing that.
Don't go fast.
I've been doing that, and they keep telling me to leave Whole Foods. I don't know why. Okay, so this is the chart, okay?
Of consciousness.
I'm going to read the David Hawkins chart of consciousness, okay? So
it's from 0 to 1,000.
It's from 0 to 1,000.
This is a numerical chart. And then are you going to start at the bottom and climb?
I'm going to start it from the bottom.
Take
now
us
we're
up the
here.
ladder.
There are two big breaking points, okay? One at 200.
Why?
Because you are by his study, that is the breaking point between integrity and not integrity.
So benefiting the earth versus being destructive.
Sure. But there are different, that's even then you can find cracks in that, but yes, that's the oversimplification.
So 200 out of 1,000, 200 is our breaking point.
Yeah, another not incorrect way to look at it is a low versus a high vibration.
Sure.
Okay. But that doesn't mean that doesn't really, that's not the correct way.
Still subjective.
Very much so. And also if you are at a lower vibration and you are rising to one that is still below 200, that's still an improvement. There are still a lot of things. To me, this is it. This is it. Like we worship.
Well, because you love
Muhammad Ali.
You love a reason-based system. So for the skeptical people, I feel like it's a very masculine thing.
Okay.
I'm about to switch it over to witchcraft after this, so you better hurry up.
Okay, ready for the chart?
Take us up the ladder of
20,
consciousness.
Shame.
Shame's at the bottom.
Very bottom. Guilt, 30. Apathy, 50.
God.
Grief, 75.
Okay.
Fear, 100. Desire, 125.
Oh.
Anger, 150.
Oh.
So it's like you can still accomplish a lot of things in anger.
Anger
but
has a lot of energy.
Has a lot.
More than shame, which is at the bottom.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Anger, sorry, I just said that. Pride, 175.
Oh,
one of the most powerful in the entire
pride.
thing. Most people, when he's talking about it, most people would prefer to end their lives on earth than jump to courage, to change their mind.
Which is right above pride. So pride that's why 200 is so important.
Look at our politics right now.
Is
People
why
would literally prefer to
people,
die than change their mind in pride. That's
because
how
it
strong
requires courage.
So that's the huge first jump in this chart is to 200. 200 is courage. Okay. Neutrality is 250. Okay. Willingness, 310. Acceptance, 350. Reason, 400. Then you have another huge quantum jump from 499 to 500, which is love.
So so the skeptical, reason-based people and love is right next to each other. So that's probably a big jump.
Huge jump.
Okay.
Because reason, once it's intellectualism.
What number is it, love?
Love is 500. So intellectualism, all of this shit.
We're only halfway up.
Yeah, but at that point on, you're way advanced.
Then
So
you're not even like, why am I here?
once you reach love, I mean, like what? And then exactly 540 is joy, and then peace is 600. Enlightenment is 700 to 1,000.
Okay, so they
So,
haven't mapped that really
Like
clear.
Jesus is like tests,
Like
so
850.
750 to 1,000.
Yeah,
You know what I
the
mean?
Bible
So at
is
that
like
point,
800. So people are probably
New
wondering
Testament.
like how do
I
you
think the Old Testament
how are
does
you
that.
actually getting these numbers?
So
right?
muscle testing. He has this whole series of how your body and your aura and your whole vibrational system knows
Your
the truth.
intuition and your subconscious.
It's kind of
has
like a lie detector test. Like it knows whether something is
Because you
right or
remember we
wrong.
said something the other day, like intuition is like the moment before the thought comes in. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's the same thing with the muscle test, which is how this dude calibrated all these numbers.
Yeah, fucking
you hold
killed
your
it.
arm up and he says resist, right? So he pushes down on your arm.
Yes.
It's
And
also
there's-
called like kinetic muscle test or something.
It is. Yeah. And there's a lot of like
You can use it to find the answer to anything.
yeah. But he also says apparently you need to be the person testing needs to be above 200.
Right.
And the other person needs to still be like both people need
Have to
kind
have
of
integrity.
to get like an accurate.
So it's
reading.
still not like super clear, but it's a good tool.
But he still swears by it, and he's a clinical MD.
He spent like 40 years working on this shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on from David Hawkins. And
Okay.
if y'all are interested, he's one of our faves. Now, I feel like that's a reason-based, like very masculine approach to this, which is cool because it gives you facts and science. But on the other side of it, the feminine, the loose side of it for me is the witchy shit, because I love setting up an altar. I love designing, having all my elements laid out and like burning incense and experiencing the aromatherapy and like the herbal cleansings and like teas and rituals and spells, because basically your thoughts make up your entire reality. So we're all saying the same thing. So
all the same shit.
So no matter what kind of person you are and what your vibe is, there is something for you to find deeper meaning. And so like witchcraft and magic, I went deep into that like pretty quickly, probably
When?
because I just love like the vibe of like being like this villainous goddess bitch. But it was like,
But when did you feel like, because you do have a lot of, are you officially Reiki certified?
I'm Reiki certified.
Hey!
Level 2. I'm not a master.
So that, again, to your aura, your healing cleanses.
it's real for me.
If you're willing to accept it as real, then absolutely
Because
it's
with
real.
Reiki, the actual healing taking place is nothing to do with me. I am channeling it, sending it to you, and you are activating it in your own body. Mm-hmm. That's what this is so cool. And that's like an ancient, by the way, like rediscovered by a Japanese guy, but it's actually like from India, and it's just beautiful. So you'll go down this path, right? And a lot of people are afraid of witchcraft because of the dark arts, right? The dark whatever. I never came across anything that made me feel unsafe. I know that some people have psychic talents where they can connect with spirits, and that can be scary if you don't understand it. Mm-hmm. But I am what you would call a light worker. I'm interested in, obviously my intention is goodness.
Isn't that interesting? Everything is scary when you don't understand it.
See? And darkness is just a lack of light. Shine a light on it.
The square root of 9 is 3.
Okay.
It all makes sense.
Everyone can be good at math. Oops. Okay.
Oh, also,
So make sure you clear your fears first. If you're going to jump into like witchcraft and some of these old pagan studies, they're so magical and so cool, but make sure you clear your fears, because that's the only thing I think that would get in the way of you having a good experience.
all of these things are exactly what they say in all of these fucking books, but especially that field one, where it's like if thoughts are energy and vibration, then it's all intention. If you think something is good, it becomes good. If you think something is bad, it becomes bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
once you
really,
find this meaning, you become more authentic as a person. You become more confident. Your life path becomes clearer because you're like, I'm no longer interested in this toxic thing. I only want to do this. I'm okay with letting this go. And
how long has this taken you? Because this is not an easy process.
thank you. That's a really good point.
Yeah, it's not.
For those of you out there that are just starting this journey, it's so fucking cool. And you're going to spend a decade. before you feel like I feel right now. Probably. Maybe some of y'all will be faster, because some of y'all babies that are under my age group, like the 20-year-olds out there, like y'all were born with an extra ability for this. I believe that.
The indigo children.
The indigo children's, the sensitive. If you've ever been told you're sensitive, ADHD, all this stuff, you just have a little bit more energies. Like working in your favor. They try to demonize it, man. They try to make it like a bad thing. Sure, it's
because they don't understand it.
Ask questions, remove the fear.
Do you feel like it was harder for you having a religious background? Was there fear in, like, if I leave behind this belief in the one true God, that I will somehow be smited? Or was there a lot of fear in leaving the Christianity view of what this was to be open to where you are now?
Man, the fear is still there. When I was originally leaving, and it wasn't like I ever left. I would still go home for Christmas and we'd go to church and I'd be like, yes,
Putting like, cherry bombs in the toilet and shit.
No. That was me. No, the fear was so tremendous that I just felt like there was no other way for me to enjoy my life. I really was dark. I was like, I don't have meaning. I don't have purpose. I'm willing to risk it all. I'm willing to risk my narrow perspective of this one God that's going to spite me for like asking questions. I'm willing to risk that. Because what's the worst that could happen, right? Like he strikes me down.
The feeling that you felt.
I love that's a he too. Like to me, enough. God is very feminine.
Yeah. Oh, one of my favorite shirts I saw is like, I met God. She's black.
Yes, it's the best. That's the
that was
best.
really funny.
I should have got that shirt.
It was an amazing shirt.
So that was man, I just want to say that anybody who's listening to this who is going through this or is in that situation right now where you're like, wow, I'm restricted, I'm unable to ask questions, so much fear. I was there, and now
and a lot of people are, and it's okay.
I'm so happy. I just want you to know there is no rush.
Yeah.
No pressure. Some of y'all will just stay there forever, and that's also okay. You can have a beautiful, happy, safe life. Mm-hmm. I had a very safe and very blessed upbringing. I'm not complaining at all, but I just wanted more, and that was something that this Reiki healer told me. She was like, whoa, your energy and your aura is just so bold. You had to go and find. Not everybody is on that mission this lifetime.
Are you comfortable telling me what happened in the Reiki session?
Yes. I mean, we don't have to go into it too much, but
tell me.
I highly recommend if you have a Reiki practitioner in your area, it's worth like the $100 or whatever to go and experience this. So this woman put me back in touch. Shout out to Cindy, who is Uncommon Healing on Instagram. Mm-hmm. I just felt like a poser. I was studying Reiki because I was doing these aura cleanses, and I have never been attuned. And there's this amazing story about how Reiki came to be. And I was like, I should go see someone. I'm in LA. I'm sure there's some talented ass people.
Right down the street.
So I called 2 practitioners that come up on the Google map. And Cindy hit me right back, and she was like, babe, I got you tomorrow, I go to this session, and I have no idea what to expect, but I arrive with my intention. I'm like, I want to just experience Reiki and decide because I'm still skeptical AF. Like, I'm like, I don't know if this is real. And she sits me down. We have a brief conversation about what's going on in my life, which I've been going through a major transformation, as we've said.
Yeah.
And she throws me up on this table, which is just a basic, like a chiropractic table, just a healing table. And she's playing this music, and they start spraying the stuff. And I was like, oh my God, the sprays. No. She puts some crystals down in my root chakra and she's intuitively doing this, and kind of like I do on my Instagram healings. Like, she's feeling what's happening with my aura. Just like if you're a hairdresser, you can't cut your own hair all the time, girl. Get somebody who's good at cutting hair to give you that.
Clean up that aura hair.
This is self-care at this point. Cindy did it.
Let's go, Cindy.
She was like intuitively led to and maybe she just picked this randomly. I don't know. I should ask her. She's got classes too. She's brilliant. Y'all should check her out. But she walked me into my 7-year-old playroom in my house and had me open the door and meet my inner child. And I was just crying the whole fucking time. And it felt so healing, and I discovered that the young version of me was so suppressed. Like that giant aura that she told me that she felt, she was like, yeah, when you were a child, like you weren't allowed to express that. You weren't like, it wasn't encouraged for you to be an artist. Like I'm just becoming her right now. So I had a lot of connecting to do with that. And like, I hugged my 7-year-old self and I told her it was going to be okay. Like, she showed me some books. Babe, the session was so cool. And meanwhile, she's also like pulling things out of my energetic field, you know, and she got me in touch with one of my spirits guides, which I was like, come on, I've been reading about these spirit guides. Here's the skeptic. I'm like, where are these bitches at?
Show
like,
up,
I
you
need somebody
motherfuckers.
to help me.
Come on, bring me some scotch.
It was so validating and so cool. And at this point, I'm like, even if this shit is all fake, your meaning that you derive from it and the experience you have and the healing that you get. And then I came home and wrote a song and it was like amazing. It's like, come on, there's so much value and so much self-care in doing some of these things. So highly recommend if you've been on the fence about like getting more woo-woo, girl, I'm here to encourage you. So one of the most fun things to learn how to connect with God, with source, with your spirit is to learn synchronicity. And this is such a cool word. I'm sure there's a movie about this, but you basically, you start looking for signs and you start communicating with the universe or God in such a way. It's always shapes and colors and symbols, right? So you start seeing hummingbirds everywhere. And when you see a hummingbird and you just have this knowing like, oh, this is the universe confirming something that I was wondering about, whatever you were thinking about when you saw the hummingbird is like, this is how you communicate with it. So synchronicity was one of my faves. Lately it's been pennies. I'll see a penny. The other day I had this huge breakthrough and then he went for a walk.
And saw like, it was like 10 of them.
A pile of pennies, sent me a picture and I just started bawling. It's like the amount of meaning, like when you're open to this shit, you start having such this conversation with God.
And that's perspective. What you look for
it's so tight.
Is what you find. And that becomes, and it still doesn't mean that it's not real. It's completely real.
Because your thoughts make up your experience. So don't you want to have a magical one?
Okay, so I did not grow up in the church.
Right.
But, you know, I was sent off to peace camps and shit like that. And Alex is just shaking his head.
We're going right back
and
to the
trombone
peace camp.
school. Peace camp and trombone school. That's right, ladies. And these David Hawkins books were on our shelf growing up.
Lucky.
And I distinctly remember, I don't know, it was maybe 10, 11, 12 when I finally learned how to read. And I grabbed one of the books and I opened it up and I started reading it and I was like, yeah, no fucking way. And put it back because it was impossible to read. I was like, this is awful.
We should have brought a book and just read a sentence. Like
we should.
If you pick one of these books up on Amazon and get it used, baby, get it used.
It takes a minute.
We don't need.
I reread a lot of them once a year because every time you find something new about it. But it's wild. And so I had these sitting on. My dad read them in his spare time, and I still didn't really take to them until I was.
Ready.
Probably late 20s.
Until you're ready.
Until you're ready.
I kind of hate that phrase, like when you're ready, because it still like has some judgment. It's like, no, but like when you're ready.
But it's not.
It's all for you, baby. This whole thing, this whole movie that you're living is all for you.
If all the shit that we've been reading and studying and shit is even remotely real, underneath all of your suffering, all your programs, all your egoic human body bullshit is this eternal perfect creature that is here to experience life and to learn and to improve its experiences along its way, enrich itself along its journey.
I want to give you a fun synchronicity exercise for this week. This is just to see if you can start flirting with this, because this is very safe and very chill.
Flirt with it.
So whatever you call your God or your universe or your higher self or whatever it is, because again, we are God, weird, whatever you call that special thing, I want you to ask it a question. I want you to ask for an answer about something very specific, nice and easy. Just ask the universe, say, hey, universe, we want to know what's the next single, right? Or whatever your question is.
Why does Nick's hair look like this?
If that's what you care about.
Yeah.
Yes. And just say, I just want a sign. I want to receive a sign in the next 24 hours. Mm-hmm. Take a deep breath. With your hands out, relax your head and ask it one more time with a smile. Universe, give me an answer about X in the next 24 hours. Thank you. I love you. Don't even think about it. But in the next 24 hours, I want you to report back and tell me what you got.
And let it go.
And when it comes, when it comes, I want you to be like looking for that knowing, right? Like as you feel it in your chest, you'll be like, oh shit.
All of these studies are going in rather than out.
Yes, you don't look for external anything. Although the pennies do show up on an external level, but you feel the butterflies in your stomach, like that was the universe talking to you.
External meaning like seeking approval or joy or happiness or whatever from the world, from out there.
Yeah.
That is always going to just let you down and lead to more suffering.
Yeah.
It's going in that always gives you answers.
And I think going up too. But it is fun. I'm excited for you, girl, to like start communicating directly with the universe and with God because you deserve it. And it's fucking cool. It's magical. So for your own health and for your own peace and for your own self-realization and your art, which we need your art. Do a little bit of exploring in the spiritual shit. Find out where you sit. And remember that like other people are going to, it's just like you're not going to wear clothes from this store. Some people are going to wear clothes from that store. Some people don't wear clothes at all.
That's me.
Right?
It's an exception.
Like I had a hard time. I was like, what is an atheist? That's weird. But then I was like, yo, if that's where you're at, baby, go. Go, baby, go. Because I know it's not going to be the same. None of us are the same forever. What's the only thing that's inevitable? Change. We do have this thing where we ask you at the end of every episode to do something nice for a stranger because we just thought it would be fun. Besides being a bag of dicks on this podcast.
I think we can do it.
Patricio Crouch on Twitter is @staredfunmonkey. Said Queen Herby Jedi Nick told me to pay it forward, paid for the person behind me today because what they said resonated and it felt good. Not for the praise, but how I feel. A bunch of emojis. #House of Herby.
No way. Let's fucking go.
Thank you, Patricio. Oh, wait, we're supposed to talk shit about them.
Oh my God. What an idiot. Why would you do that?
So embarrassing.
You're nice to people? What's wrong with you?
It's weird. So if you do that this week, y'all, if you do something nice for a stranger, please tweet about it, comment about it so that we can also harass you.
Let's do this.
If you enjoyed this episode, I'm Queen Herby. This is Jedi Nick. We're so grateful for your listening. And if you think this would resonate with one of your friends, by all meansies, send it to them. Let us know in the comments if you like talking about this stuff. If you have any further questions,
or what your experience was.
I would love to know that.
Everybody has a very, very particular, unique experience.
It's a very personal journey, but it is cool when we get together as a group and we're like, yo, this is what I did. It was crazy. If you are interested in my aura cleanses, we are going to put a link in the show notes for you. If you want to go through, I have these 1-minute cleanses all over TikTok and Instagram. Would love for you to check that out and see if you can get any value from that.
Are we working on a new song right now? Is there new music coming out soon?
There is new music coming out. See, this is where
new music. Bye. See you next week.
This is where we need to like put the iPods in your ears and be listen to my song. Well, we could give them a preview.
Well, next week we will.
Okay. New music. Woo!